sunny ways, my friends, sunny ways.
So the answer to that is to stop being stupid.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
We have recently switched to drinking water bottles out of water out of when we have water bottles out of a plastic. Away from plastic towards paper, like drink box water bottles, sort of thing.
Well, Lottie frickin' God!
You're ready to fight, aren't you? I can feel it!
I intend to resign as party leader, as prime minister.
Is this true?
Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
Sorry?
The servicing costs on the debt that you're going to have to carry, that you're adding to now, right?
Interest rates are at historic lows, Glenn.
Here's the funds.
On the topic, I mean, in terms of your sort of strategy currently, you're obviously taking the populist pathway.
What does that mean?
He's announcing a catalog, everybody! Hey, everyone, give him a round of applause. Come on, give him a round of applause. You can't afford a home. You might end up in a tent. Your rent is doubled, but hey, you've got a brand new catalog.
When I'm prime minister, I will keep my promises. Now, another promise. Let me try again.
A lot of people would say that you're simply taking a page out of the Donald Trump book.
Like which people would say that?
Well, I'm sure a great many Canadians, but
Like who?
I don't know who, but
Well, you're the one who asked the question, so
Yeah.
you must know somebody.
We need to trigger an axe the tax election as soon as possible.
We'll do it live. No, we'll do it live. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Yeah, that's all that's coming off. There's nothing else coming off, yeah. I'm not Justin Trudeau here.
Let's fucking go!
Let's fucking go.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. Welcome to a fun, hopefully fun, Wednesday night stream. You'll have to forgive me. I am still down with the sickness. I have a very nasty head cold / flu. So I'm going to be hanging out here tonight. It's not going to be a usual length stream, probably sitting somewhere around an hour. So sit back, grab your snacks, get ready. We got a lot to talk about tonight, folks. We got a lot to go over. Let's get a roll call going. Let's get a good old roll call going. We'll do a quick roll call. We'll break it down fast. Let me know where you're watching from. If you're new here, let me know if it's your first time in the streams. Let's see if we can get somebody from every province in the country. Let's go. Get those LFGs and thumbs ups in the chat, ladies and gents. Nelson coming in from New Brunswick. Welcome in. We got HUD coming in from Toronto. Welcome in. It's great to have you here. We got Ingrid and Charlie coming in from Okotoks, Alberta. Welcome in. We've got Mystical coming in from Calgary. You're on the roof. That's okay. You're going to fall through. It's leaking. It would be by my luck anyways. We've got Andros and Kid coming in from Leduc. Welcome in. Draco from Lethbridge. We've got the Vinyl Collector coming in once again from Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. Kelson El Gringo Grande coming in from Porno Viagra. Welcome in. It's great to have you here. We got Carol and Gerald coming in from Calgary once again. I Stand My Ground hanging in Camrose, Alberta. We got Jesse coming in from Fort Mac. We got Ange with the LFGs. Happy Hump Day, everybody. Sending love from Huntsville, Ontario. We got Luca coming in from Burnaby, BC. Welcome and great to have you back. Rodney coming in from Newfoundland. We got Keith coming in from Elkhorn, Manitoba. Welcome in. Mike from Ampere, Ontario. Blonde Biker Chick coming in from Southwestern Ontario. We've got KLE coming in from Kingston, Ontario. Kevin coming in from Cookstown, Ontario. Krista from Moose Jaw. Welcome in. We got Luxton coming in from Vancouver Island. Lee coming in from Edmonton. Ginger, first time in alive. Welcome to the Fringe, in from Calgary. Great to have you here. We've got Tress coming in as well into the stream, member of the Patriots Club. We've got Melanie coming in from Niagara Falls. Welcome in. We got a lot of LFGs in the chats, ladies and gents. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button as you're coming in. Little Big Boy Blue, not Little Boy Blue, from Port Alberni. Welcome in. It's great to have you. Trudeau's Akami coming in once again from Calgary, of course. It's great to have you back. Seth coming in from Newfoundland. Tommy in from Edmonton as well. Great to have you here. We've got Silvana coming in from Mississauga, Reg from Spruce Grove, Danny coming in from New Brunswick, Sparkler coming in from McKellar, Ontario, John Doe's coming in from somewhere in Alberta. We're not sure where, but it's good enough to be in here, so that's great. Good to have you in here, John. Countryside in from Nova Scotia. We got Silvana coming in earlier. Tress coming in from Ottawa. Joe Lyman, one of my mods, one of my favorite mods, coming in with the LFGs. All my mods are my favorite mods. I'm not going to lie. Big shout out to all my moderators. You guys are doing a fantastic job on the channel. Keep it up. Keep it up, guys. You guys are great. George, Canadian living in Germany. Well, welcome into the stream. It's great to have you here. We got TJ coming in from Cobourg, Ontario. Sylvain coming in from Quebec. Welcome in. It's great to have you here. The Adaptive Maritimer from Halifax, Nova Scotia. Brian joining us from Poop Beach. I know it's a joke. It's Wasaga Beach. Welcome in. It's great to have you here. Gordon coming in from Winnipeg. Good to have you back. Mike's also joining us from Winnipeg. Mike TV Dub. Philip, Long Island, New York. Wow. Welcome to our American viewers. We love our American viewers. Let's see. Linda coming in from Toronto, Ontario. And on that, folks, I've got to get caught up with the chat. We're going to get into the stream. Sorry if I missed anybody in the roll call. Again, a little under the weather, a little down with the sickness. I'm going to try to get through this tonight as best as possible. I was going to take the night off, but you know what? I love chatting with you guys. We had to be here for a stream. We had to get this stream going. Hit the thumbs up on the way in. That's the least we can do. Hit the thumbs up. Let's see how many viewers we can get in on this live stream tonight, ladies and gents. We got a little business to take care of. We're saving a lot of the memes for Friday's show. We'll have a little bit of a laugh. We can have a little laugh, can't we, here tonight? Let's take a peek here. Interesting photos popped up recently as we've seen Jagmeet Singh taking a 180, which we all knew he was going to do anyways when it comes to his agreement to vote non-confidence against the Liberals. There's something peculiar going on between him, Mark Carney, Melanie Joly, Justin Trudeau. Sweatergate. If you remember the sweater incidents, Justin Trudeau, of course, can't dress himself. He wears his backwards. But here's Melanie Joly, Mark Carney, and Jagmeet Singh apparently all wearing the same sweater. Is this like a gang now? Are they forming a mob? Is this like the Bloods and the Crips? Is it going to be the Gray Sweater Gang? I don't know what's going on here. Somebody fill me in if they know something that I don't. it's the Gray Sweater Gang, I guess. I don't know. A little weird. I want to share this video because I thought this is great. It's a great video that obviously I can't put out on a regular video because we mostly talk about Canadian politics. Even though Donald Trump has a lot going on right now, I want to show this. Donald Trump out today playing tennis with Serena Williams. Like, is there anything this guy can't do? Let's take a look here at what Trump's doing. Take a look.
And Donald Trump is always where the cameras are when it involves making money. And today at Lowe's Island in Sterling, Virginia, he opened the Tennis Performance Center. Trump volleyed with Serena Williams, shoes off, coat on. Donald Trump showing he's got some game, some little. It's right there at the Trump National Club. Both are tremendous facilities. It was good to see him out there, and the fans seemed to enjoy it.
I mean, I think it's great. I think it's great that Donald's out having some fun. You know, a lot came to mind when he took office. A lot of people were concerned about his safety. People were saying, you know, how many days is he going to make it based on everything that happened prior to him getting into the White House? It's good to see this. I think it's great. I think I think he's doing a good job so far. And a lot of people are mad because of the tariff thing. We're going to get into that tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And Drozny and Kid is saying that the gray sweaters are the new Star Wars Imperial officer uniforms. Maybe that's the case. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with those gray sweaters. I don't know. Didn't think Serena was a fan of him. Luca, a lot of people are saying they're not fans of Trump that are coming around now because apparently after 4 years of Joe Biden, they're starting to see the light. They're starting to see that, hey, go woke, go broke. We got to fix the system. We got to drain the swamp. We got to do the same thing in Canada. I'm going to show you guys this video. Now, warning here, this is a little graphic. It's a little gross, but you know what? It's a fair representation. You'll understand once the video drops what we're talking about here. This tweet came out today stating that when the Bank of Canada cuts rates by another 25 base points 3 days before tariff and your mortgage renewal is coming up next week, which will be double of what you signed up for back in 2021, while your property taxes have increased 26.8% cumulative in that time frame. This is a fair representation of what Canada is these days. Now, I'm not going to play the noise because it's just as bad, but this is what the average Canadian is going to be looking like when they see their bank accounts if they're re-signing their mortgages based on the way the government works these days. Again, I'm going to pause it. I'm not going to run the whole thing, but isn't that a fair representation of how people feel in Canada these days? Isn't that where we're at when it comes to how we're functioning as a country? Again, we were excited at the premise that, you know, we've been talking since spring or fall, I should say, since Parliament dissolved, saying, look, we're going to hear an election. I think there's going to be a spring election. We're going to see a spring election. You know, winter break hits. And we said, look, they're non-confidence when they get back. Jugmeat's put it in writing. It's happening. Mark Carney takes the stage. Everything goes kaput. Now we're talking about hopefully getting an election by fall, which we're being told could still. Why do you got to show that? Because again, I thought it was a fair representation of how Canadians feel these days. Now I did warn everybody. Come on, Callie, don't get that mad. I warned everybody beforehand that there was going to be some graphic content. But let's talk about what's happening with Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh. Because it's laughable. It's laughable at best. If you watched this morning's video, Justin Trudeau plans, well, the Liberals, not just Justin Trudeau, but whoever comes in with the Liberals, plans to not only go to battle with Donald Trump for dollar on tariffs. We're going to get into a little bit of that later on in the stream as well. But now they're talking about pandemic level spending to give money back to Canadians for relief from tariffs. So you could fix the border, right? You could fix the border. Hang on a second. I accidentally closed one of my windows here. You could fix the border and you could handle your business, or you can go to war with Donald Trump. I apologize. This is what happens when you bump the mouse. You can go to war with Donald Trump and get pandemic level spending. Is that what we're wanting here? Is that what we're wanting? Can you guys imagine? Trudeau's economy saying it's going to be UBI. It's not UBI. This is like a tame version of UBI. At least that's what they're calling it. It's going to be similar to CERB. It's free money to sit around and sit on your butt. Now, I've said from day one, if they come out with this policy, don't take a dime of it, because we know, look at that, my voice cracked just saying that. We all know what's going to happen should you take any money of that. We know that they're going to come back and they're going to say, we're going to claw it all back. We gave it to you. That's the way we're doing things. Let's show what's going on here. Marty up north. Now, somebody tell me in the audience if he's got a point here. Marty says, I didn't apply for CERB relief. I won't make that mistake again. If Trudeau and Singh offer any kind of program, I'll register myself, my wife, my dogs, my kids, my hamster, everyone. Trudeau and Singh are driving Albertans to be independent. and I'm going to milk Canada for every penny it's worth at this point. Now, of course, he's clipped the article down here that says Singh suggests the NDP could help Liberals pass tariff relief. So is that the consensus? I mean, again, I think that there's no such thing as free money. In fact, if you think our deficit is bad the way it is now, this is the end of globalization. And I kind of figure people are a little smarter than that. I don't know if maybe Marty's being sarcastic here. What do you guys think? Is this something you're going to jump on if it's offered just for the sake of, well, we're screwed anyways, we might as well? Or do you think that this is one of those things that they're going to turn around and screw Canadians with like they did with CERB? It just can't simply be fixing the border and tariffs will go away. Trump says major deficit and we need to fund military, etc. I get it. Take the money and run. I'm in. There you go, says Kevin. I just started a new job. I don't want handouts. I want to work. I'm not unessential garbage. I'm never going through that again, says Crypto. I hear you. Singh can't do a thing to help Canadians. No, he only helps himself. We've seen that this week. We've seen that totally this week. If you accept UBI, then they're going to impose digital ID. An election would give us tariff relief. And that's one thing I did say on the video today, Reg, is that Jagmeet Singh stood up and preached. This is where I'm saying, like, the funny stuff, or at least the stuff that as a YouTube content creator, I'm going to find hilarious, is that you're going to start to see the press push back on Jagmeet Singh. You're going to see them push back on others in the Liberal Party as well as the NDP because they've already started. They've already started pre-Christmas break. They wouldn't listen to Jagmeet Singh when he said that he was going to vote non-confidence, and they said, why didn't you do it before? Why didn't you go to the table when you had the opportunity before? They've been putting the pressure on him that if he starts to preach this stuff, when he starts talking about workers, when he was up there the other day saying that all we care about is workers, that these things are on the table, that we want to put relief forward to workers because that's all we care about. I mentioned it in the video. Do you remember when he said that if the Liberals introduced back to work legislation for Canada Post, he was going to vote non-confidence, and he never did because he never does? Excuse me. But now he says, well, we care about workers again. We care about everything that you guys have. So we're going to give you this relief money. We're just going to keep printing money and making our dollar even more worthless so that one day, well, globalization will be complete. I mean, this is fool me once. I mean, is that what people want, is universal basic income? Like, wouldn't that make our money virtually worthless? Like, you think the dollar's already bad on the American dollar right now? What do you think it's going to look like when that happens? It's bad now. Take a look at successful Ontario Conservative Premier Doug Ford. We're going to put tens of billions of dollars into the economy, just like we did during the pandemic. I'm not even going to play the clip. How's that working out for you, Doug? How'd that work out for everybody else? Right? Like, does this seem like a good idea for everybody? Is this something everybody wants? This is why we need better rules in our government, don't we, folks? Like, the ship is sinking. The ship is tilting. It's on its last legs, as far as I know at this point. Why would anybody want the government to limit your potential? Well, because a lot of people, this is the problem, and this is one of the things I mentioned when I was talking about the possibility, the very real possibility, of Mark Carney being labeled the new leader of the Liberal Party of Canada. As soon as they start talking about, and people quote me if I'm wrong, but I said as soon as he gets in, he's got a little bit of time to start promising the world to people. And that's where this money comes in. He's going to say, look, we're going to go toe-to-toe with Trump. We're going to push back on the tariffs. We're going to fight, even though we really don't have a lot of cards at the table. But don't worry, we'll print money so that you guys can just sit back and relax while we continue to pulverize the Canadian dollar into the ground. Your homes will be worth nothing. Your money will be worth nothing. Your dollars that we give you for free won't buy anything. while we pull American products off the shelves. I'm shocked because I thought that Danielle Smith's approach, and again, tell me if I'm wrong, but I thought Danielle Smith's approach was better. That, look, we do have things to offer. We should come to the table. Instead of giving billions of dollars to Ukraine, instead of giving billions of dollars to Israel, Palestine, and all these other forever wars, maybe we should start funding NATO. Maybe we should start funding military. Maybe we should just do what Donald Trump is talking about and find a way to work together as a national trade partner. Come to the table and find a term of agreement. It's gotten so bad right now that while I thought Danielle Smith had a very good point about that, you now have Pierre Poilievre. He says he'd hit the U.S. hard with dollar-for-dollar tariffs if elected. So he doesn't want to negotiate with Trump. Pierre Poilievre wants to, and now I don't want to completely crap all over Pierre. Maybe he's got a plan here. Maybe there's something he's got that we don't know about, but wouldn't this make our dollar more worthless? Wouldn't this put us in dire straits to fight Donald Trump? Like, doesn't this worry anybody? I'm going to go through this really quick, and then we're going to talk about it. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre confirmed that if elected, he would be looking to pinpoint strategic trade areas with the U.S. to target with retaliatory tariffs, even going as far as matching them dollar for dollar. Conservative leader said he would pitch to U.S. President Donald Trump, the America can only win with open and unbridled free trade with Canada. Pierre told CTV News Atlantic's Todd Bates he wouldn't hesitate to slap retaliatory tariffs on as many U.S. goods as necessary in an interview that addressed his stance on the issue for the first time. Quote, I would retaliate. I would target products and services that A, we don't need, B, we can make ourselves, and C, that we can buy elsewhere so that we can maximize the impact on Americans while minimizing the impact on Canadians, he said Friday. Now, this is where I'm saying he must know something that we don't when it comes to our products, to where we can save some money. I just don't think that after 10 years, like, you look at the U.S., that was 4 years of Biden that Donald Trump is cleaning up. We have 10 years of Justin Trudeau's dictatorship to clean up. We don't have a lot of bargaining chips at the table. Is this the right time to go to war with a ruthless businessman like Donald Trump and lower the value of our dollar? President Trump is talking about getting rid of income tax. Do you honestly think anyone in the government will get rid of taxes? No. Of course they won't. Don't forget, income taxes were supposed to be temporary, folks. Then when can we fix our borders and talk about a deal? Well, that again is the question of the day. When's it going to happen? I hear about this new woman running in the Liberal Party that says that she's going to deport 500,000 illegal immigrants. Pierre Poilievre says he's going to deport illegal immigrants. He hasn't said how many. He hasn't said a number, I don't believe. So I don't know how we're going to fix the border or when we're going to fix the border. We don't even know the demands of fixing the border. We know that Donald Trump doesn't want substances being manufactured in our country that start with an F. Again, I have to say that because of censors. But he doesn't want it going back and forth over the border anymore either. He doesn't want the crime. He doesn't want the open border policies. Donald loves the deal. We need to deal with him, not pretend to stand tough. That's part of what I'm worried about, is that this guy knows his stuff. HUD saying, Super Chat, that's the last resort for Pierre. He said so. Okay, fair enough. I'll give him that. Ingrid, a $2 Super Chat. We're the best community ever. Ingrid, I appreciate that. Yes, we are. All I know is all politicians promote is violence. I've never seen one bring peace. Well, I mean, Donald Trump never had any wars under his belt when he was president. He didn't start any wars. CB saying our savior is going to be Jolie. She's going down to scold U.S. diplomats in French. There you go. There you go. Maybe if we had a functional government to figure it out, it would help. That's part of the problem. And that's where it all comes back to Jagmeet Singh saying we're talking about workers, we're talking about everything else. Here's all the solutions about tariffs. Nobody wants No one once, except for Danielle Smith, by the way, has said throughout this whole process, we need to fix our borders. Have you heard any of the premiers saying that? Have you heard any of the politicians from the federal government saying that? While they're all still on holiday collecting their paychecks, by the way. Have you guys heard any of them say, let's fix the borders? No, they keep talking about, well, when the tariffs come in, here's what we're going to do. When the tariffs come in, this is the relief we're going to give you. These are the things, instead of saying, okay, let's fix our problems. Let's find a way to all get along, right? Not a one. There you go. There you go. If Jagmeet Singh really cared about workers, if Justin Trudeau really cared about having Canada's back, if any of these premiers cared about a Team Canada approach, they would be calling a federal election, and they would allow a competent government to go into Parliament and attempt to negotiate with Donald Trump. I don't understand what's going on here. You've got many people in the country cheering on this Team Canada approach. I've got friends in Manitoba that say, "Oh, Wob New and all these other folks are doing wonderful things because they're all preaching Team Canada. We're going to unify. We're going to go to war with Donald Trump. I hate Orange Man bad and all these other things." You don't understand. Trump just wants things back to normal too, and he's got every right to protect his country. As mad as I get, I can't blame the guy for trying to look after his country. Prep Rebel Actual with a massive $139 super chat. I am so sick of these politicians trying to blind the rest of us as to what these doughheads want to happen. Politicians equal doughheads. I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for the very generous super chat. My goodness. It's a little weird that all of our politicians are prepared to start a trade war at a time when inflation's at a high level, when jobs are going out the window, when it's just as easy for Donald Trump to pick up the phone and start calling some of these Canadian companies and saying, listen, I'm going to save you billions and billions of dollars in revenue every year if you just pack up your offices and come down to America. Anybody think that's not going to happen? I mean, you think about the auto sector for a second here. Even the EV plants that Canada has subsidized to come here, if Donald Trump calls them up tomorrow and says, come down to the United States, why don't you come on down to the United States? We're going to give you some prime real estate locations, low taxes. You guys are going to do fabulous. You're going to make more money. You're going to be great. You don't think they're going to pick up their stuff and leave? You don't think all those thousands of jobs are going to go? Tariffs will have nothing to do with it. He's going to offer them a deal. Pack up your offices and come to America. Do you guys remember in the US when everybody was leaving California for Texas? You guys remember that? That's what Canada's going to look like. You're going to see all of these oil and gas offices in Alberta. I was talking about it the other day. You're going to see all of these offices shut down. They're going to move. Years ago, back when Justin Trudeau took office, Husky Energy pulled out of Calgary. They left. Thousands of jobs out the window. I've already seen in the oil and gas sector in Alberta a lot of companies talking about pulling back. It's the Trump effect. It's all. I'm not here to preach doom and gloom. I'm here to say we need to start being the voice of reason with our politicians. We need to start asking our politicians, why is this within our best interests? And demand an actual explanation. Not just we're going to go toe to toe with tariffs. Why are we doing that? Why is fixing the border off the table? Why are we not concerned about the illegal substances coming into our countries? Why are we not concerned about illegal immigrants coming in here and destroying our security, our way of life, our ability to house people? Why are we allowing our crime rates to skyrocket? Why can't we fix those things? Canadians must just love being screwed. I feel that way sometimes. So, Julia, I said this earlier today. Not that I would ever take somebody up on that. But I said, if Donald Trump really wants Canada to become a U.S. state, he should open up and say any Canadian citizen with a Canadian passport is free to come over and relocate into America in the next 90 days. If you want to come over here and become an American, you can come become an American, get out of there, get away from there. And just to see what the numbers are like. Not that I agree with Canadians renouncing their citizenship, but just to see what those numbers would look like. Am I the only one who would be curious to see what that would look like? Sailor Jerry saying, it's cool you're doing more shows. Thank you. Well, look, when I'm not sick, sorry, a little cough there. When I'm not sick, I'll be doing more shows more often as well. So I'm thinking of doing Wednesday, Fridays permanently now. We'll see. Storm saying I'm in. People saying, where do I sign up for the USA? That's for USNA. It's I know one YouTuber who would jump at that. Yeah, we all know one YouTuber that would love free entry into America. We're not going to get into that. Joe's poking the bear. Look, but wouldn't it be interesting when you think about people wanting to move to the United States? When people say, I want to become the 51st state, there are large polls of people agreeing that they want to become part of the 51st state, that they want Canada to be a 51st state. Now, it's not going to happen. Corey Morgan, a good friend of mine over at the Western Standard, is holding a Twitter space right now about maybe Trump just wants Alberta. I mean, Alberta would prove to be very fruitful for the United States, but again, I don't see Donald Trump coming after Alberta. I don't see it. But if Trump really cared about what Canadians are dealing with, when you think about the rigorous process to migrate to the United States from Canada, it costs thousands of dollars. Lawyers, paperwork, all this other stuff, that if Donald Trump just said, you bring in your Canadian passport, you put it on the counter, you say, I renounce my citizenship, we give you asylum, you become an American. How many do you think would cross the border? But they have to be not migrants. They must be Canadian citizens with a Canadian passport. Can't the USA take Quebec instead? Nobody wants Quebec. Nobody wants them. Just let them do their own thing. That's the way I see it. And again, guys, I know there's viewers in here from Quebec. I don't mean you guys. I mean your government, the bureaucrats. They've really tainted the name. You have to admit that, even if you live there. Enough would cross that our housing market will crash a bit. Yeah, I would think so. But doesn't that tell you something about the state that we're in? That we need to fix our politics, that we need to fix our whole system. I'm excited for Pierre. I really am. I'm excited to see what Pierre's got up his sleeve. I think he's going to do great as prime minister. He's the best choice out of what's available. I have people yelling at me all the time saying, what about Max? What about Max? He doesn't have a seat. And then people say, oh, you're one of those people who says he doesn't have a seat. Well, he can't win an election if he doesn't have a seat, can he? So, yeah, I have to say that. But out of all the choices we have, I think Pierre's going to do the best. Because let's be honest, he's the best of the worst. If you're going to put it that way, I mean, who else would you vote for? Jagmeet Singh? Mark Carney? He's the only viable option. Not that it's a bad option. But the problem is that I don't just want a 4-year replacement. I don't just want somebody coming in for 4 years and fixing a few things that fit with their party's goals or their party's agenda. I want a government who's going to come in like Donald Trump is doing in the United States. You think about all those executive orders Trump went through already. Day one, he sat in front of all the people and signed executive orders. Wouldn't it be great if we had that happen here? We get somebody in the office that is not a politician, that is not connected to any organizations like the World Economic Forum, that come in and say, hey, we're going to retool the political system in Canada a little bit. We're going to get away from the monarchy. We're going to change our laws. We're going to make it more so that the people are protected, so that they have more say in what's going on. I have so many people messaging me and leaving comments on videos saying everything you're talking about these days is negative. there's nothing positive to find. I hate saying it like that, but I've been looking. And if we don't talk about these things, it's only going to get worse. That's the conundrum. That's the paradox that I find ourselves in, is that we have to talk about the elephant in the room. And while, yeah, we should try to look at a positive spin on how do we make this better? How do we fix the problem? It's, if you keep doing the same things over and over, expecting the same results, nothing will change. We need change. Pierre could be there for 2 decades if he does a good job. Well, he could be, but I don't think he should be. Even if I like him, I don't think he should be. I don't think any person in our political system should get more than 2 terms. I don't think it should be allowed. The reason being, people get a little too comfortable with power. I think it's fair to say 2 terms, you've done your time, you got done what you could. And then just like America, if your party is doing well, then have your party put somebody else forward who's going to do just as good of a job. %77% of Canada's economy is trade with the United States. Can you afford a 400% tax increase? No. Well, don't worry. The government's going to look after you, though, right? They're going to print more money. We're going to be okay. Sorry, I don't mean to drink during stream. I really hate cutting out a stream to take a drink. Again, my throat is closing fast. I'm so drugged in order to do this stream tonight. Ronan saying, don't accept that money. I wouldn't. We thought people were going to drill baby drill. We're going to print baby print. I saw it in the comments. It's really sad when we think about it, where we're headed. Where was it? Because I had it. Sorry, I had it up on here. I want to bring up Marty's post again, because this is where I get a little concerned. I like Marty. I don't have a problem with Marty, but it's this tweet. It really bothers me. I didn't apply for CERB relief. I won't make that mistake again. If Trudeau saying offer any kind of program, I'll register myself, my wife, my dogs, my kids, my hamster, everyone. Trudeau and Singh are driving Albertans to be independent, and I'm going to milk Canada for every penny it's worth at this point. I understand his anger. I understand his frustration. But I think that to say you're going to rip money away, like, keep in mind, that money, once it's printed, is on the backs of taxpayers. That is money your children are paying, your children's children, and so on. So there's no such thing as free money. Somebody just said there's no returning to the Canada we knew. Let's take a look at the comments, because I'm curious how the comments have dealt with this. Every Canadian should let's finally drive this country off the cliff with free stuff and get in on whatever correcting it might look like, because Canadians sure do not appear to have the will to stop the inevitable regardless. Marty says, bingo. Here's another guy chiming in. Help me here, Marty. August makes 50 years of full-time employment. Never took a dime of EI. Never took CERB, CEBA, or any COVID benefit. Never cashed a climate check because I don't believe in carbon tax. Never took OAS. Took CPP because I contributed to it. Am I a fool? I mean, and Marty says, absolutely. That's where our system needs to be fixed. That's where our system needs to be fixed. Trudeau's economy, $5 super chat. If you didn't do your taxes the last few years, you probably won't get it. Fair enough. That's a good point. Reg, re-upping as a member for the last 8 months. If we had free trade between provinces and pathways for all goods east and west, we wouldn't have to rely on the USA as much. That's part of the problem when they shut down Northern Gateway, Energy East, Trans Mountain. They didn't have any interest in putting those things together. Liquid natural gas, you think about the electricity that Quebec can produce. This country could be a powerhouse. Snatch, this is a Marty the welfare boy. I don't you're saying free money isn't free? Oh, Joe, come on. It's look, I talked about this before when my wife lost her job and I had a home business that was just doing some fun stuff for the retro gaming community. I was told, look, all you have to do is make $5,000 in the year. You can get CERB. Now, at the time, we had to wait for EI checks to come in because, again, I'm full time with my kids. I took CERB while we waited for that because my business had been shut down due to stores being closed down. I couldn't get more product to sell out. So I took CERB. Now, it was for a short period of time, but the government came back and said, well, we want you to pay that back because you didn't qualify. I said, excuse me? And they said, well, your receipts, we don't like the way your receipts were written. And I said, here's all my emails. Here's all my transactions. Here's my bank transactions. I had to pay taxes on that income. Everything's legitimate. And the government came back and said, well, what if it was a hobby? That doesn't matter. Income is income. I have to report income. Your rules said 5,000 or greater in income. And in the end, they told me I owed the money. So we had to pay it back. Now, I can't imagine, because I've heard stories of people who claimed $20,000 in CERB payments, who all of a sudden were told, you're going to pay it all back. We don't like that we gave that out to you. Even though those people applied. I seen people going to lawyers at one point to try and get it overturned. There were lawyers offering services to get their decisions overturned. Here's Sarah saying I had to pay back $12,000. If they give these reliefs to Canadians, because they want to, see you later, Lee, by the way, thanks for coming in. If they give this relief to Canadians, it's going to end up just like CERB. They're just printing money. They're printing more money. Again, if you think our deficit is already bad, what does this do to our Canadian dollar? I'm not an economics expert. Okay. I don't pretend to know everything about money. But would it not be more beneficial for us as a country to work with Donald Trump and say, let's export and import oil. Let's get our products back and forth. Let's continue our trade deals. Sure, we'll contribute a little bit more to military. We'll secure our borders. We'll find a way to work with you and strengthen our dollar instead of going on a trade war. I don't care what war it is. If it's economic, if it's physical, there's no winners in any wars. Is it really worth it right now at a time when this country is on its last legs that we go to war with a powerhouse like Donald Trump in the United States of America? I just don't see it. Pleasing Trump is the cheaper option. It's not even about pleasing him. It's about finding a way to work together. Business. Here's what I understand from business and my time working with companies, working in the business sector. Excuse me. And also going to college for business. And Donald Trump has said it too. They used to say it at the beginning of The Apprentice. There's nothing personal. It's just business. What you have to realize when you go to the table in any business is you want to spend less and gain more. You want low spending, high profits, right? That's common economics. That's common business. Low output, high input. Donald Trump just wants to sit at the table with somebody who's intelligent enough to say, look, we're going to give you a deal on this stuff. You're going to give us a deal on this stuff. You lose over here. We lose over here. But in the end, we both kind of balance out and it's beneficial for both of us. A guy like Donald Trump will sit and listen to that. But when he says, look, I want to play devil's advocate for a second here. That if you sit at the table like Justin Trudeau did at Mar-a-Lago and you sit down with Donald Trump and he says, Justin, Governor of Canada, why are we subsidizing your country $200 billion every year? Why are we buying your cars when you contribute nothing? And Donald Trump said, I don't know. He literally told Trump, I don't know. What kind of answer is that to a businessman? How is that a confident rebuttal to a man who understands business? Why are we giving you all this money? I don't know. Okay. And then Donald says, Governor Trudeau, what happens if we don't buy your cars and bring them over the border? And Justin says it would cripple our country and we would dissolve. Why would Donald Trump want to work with a country that says we have nothing to offer? That was our representative who went down there and said we have nothing to offer. So Trump says, we're not just giving away billions of dollars anymore. We're not in the business of doing that. We're not a charity. It's the same thing we should have told Ukraine and other places ages ago. We're not a charity. We have problems of our own. We're going to look after Canada first. Donald Trump has said, we're going to look after America first. That $250 billion can be pushed out around the country. Why give it to Canada? When Justin Trudeau says, I don't know why we take it. Because Donald, we will cut off the cheaper oil you get from us, and that makes you energy independent. Well, the oil isn't everything that he needs. So he can get his oil from elsewhere. There are going to be people chomping at the bit to replace the oil that Alberta gives America. It's easier to get it from us. There's an article that Mrs. Fringe sent me today that poses that Danielle Smith may get a break on the oil and gas tariffs while the rest of the country suffers. I'm going to cover that in a story. I don't want to cover it tonight because it spoils it. I want to cover it on an actual story. But Danielle did the right thing by going down there and talking to his people, by trying to plead our case and say there are things that actually are worth the subsidies that we get. There are large trade deals that we have with the United States. She also went down there to say, look, Governor Trudeau has crippled us from being allowed to get our products to market. And if you want to partner with us, we're prepared to work with you. That's what somebody who understands business does. Right? Like, instead of going down there and when he says, like, when Donald Trump asks him, why do we subsidize you? He's not looking for a basic answer. He's looking for confidence. He's looking for somebody who knows what they talk about. But when the answer comes out, I don't know, that tells him all he needs. Trump says, yeah, we're done here. You can't stay at Mar-a-Lago. Go stay at your cheap hotel. Get on your plane. Get the hell out of here. I don't need you. We're not giving to your charity. The U.S. 200 years of oil in the Gulf and another 75 years in the Balkan. The U.S. doesn't need your oil. Absolutely. $5 super chat from Blob Inc. I think the real question is whether or not it was worth seeing Donald J. Trump crush Justin Trudeau so epically. That guy's had it coming for years. He has had it coming for years. But the problem I'm talking about is that it wasn't just a meeting where he crushed him. This was representation for Canada to decide on tariffs. Justin Trudeau knew what the conversation was going to be when he got there. He knew what it was going to be. And instead of talking to his people saying, what can we go to Donald Trump with? What should we be telling him? What should we bring to the table? Like a responsible leader would, because honestly, Trudeau doesn't give a damn about Canada. He doesn't care. He went down there to get selfies. He went down there to say, hey, Donald, do you see my little Taylor Swift bracelets? Aren't these great? Aren't they fabulous? He didn't go down there to talk about trade. He didn't go down there to talk about tariffs. He went down there to pose. That's why he took Dominic LeBlanc with him. He wanted somebody who actually knew business. The problem is Trump sees through all of them. He knows that they're all crooks. They're no different than the Democrats that he just kicked out of office. Trump signed a $400 billion deal with Saudi Arabia. The problem we run into now is that you've got multiple leaders, including Pierre Poilievre, now calling for resolutions to tariffs. And it's all of them saying we're going to go dollar for dollar. They're going to go for dollar instead of how do we fix the problem? How do we get an election? How do we fix our issues? Right? We want an election. The question right now should be, what do we need to get an election? How do we get an election? Do you guys think we can make it until October with this? Keep in mind, April 1st, the carbon tax goes up. Tariffs are in. What do you think Canada's going to look like in 6 months? Mrs. Fringe, jump into the chat. There she is. It's stupid he still wears them. Yeah, it is. It's embarrassing for Canada that we're in this state. It really is. It's hard to look at the country. Just as the title of the stream says, he's turned Canada into a circus. We're the laughing stock of the world. We have no cojones at the table. It's Canada. If Canada was a person, it would sit like Justin Trudeau. We're a joke. So what do? How do we fix it? How do we get our election? This is why I think what was recommended to me. Hang on. We were talking about the Freedom Convoy, and we were talking, which is funny that we're talking about it today because today's the anniversary of the Freedom Convoy landing in Ottawa. But when we were talking about this Convoy 2.0 protest that was supposed to go into Ottawa, and we said it was a bad idea. It shouldn't go. Thank God it didn't happen. But Tom Marazzo, good friend of the channel, put a very powerful letter together that I showed on a video. We talked about it on stream where he says, the best way to protest right now isn't to get on Parliament Hill. It's for Canadians to organize and protest outside of every constituency office across Canada. Every Liberal, every NDP office, because police will have to expand their resources. It's free protest. It's legal protest. That if we got enough people that were crowded outside of these offices across the country and demanded an election, if Canadians actually rose up in a legal way, because he said when you're all on Parliament Hill, they can organize, they have liaisons, they have police ready to try and find means of arresting people. Whereas if you're just groups protesting outside of a constituency office and you're doing it properly, they don't have the resources to handle that across the country. We need to find some kind of solution to push for an election. We need to find a way for Canadians to actually be heard is the problem. Petitions, letters to MPs, all this stuff, it doesn't work anymore. It's not valid. It's useless. You might as well bang your head on a wall. We need real results. So how do we do it? Barry's saying we need to be organized but civil and legal. That's exactly how we do it. Too bad Canadians are solid like soup sandwiches. Well, I get it. But this is where I've said before, it's on us. If we don't do anything, it's on us. If we don't step up, it's on us. How we do that, I don't know. We have to figure that out collectively. But I'll tell you right now, whenever I talk to my MP, I'm not nice about it. I'm not friendly. I'm not all smiles. I used to be. But I say to them, while Justin Trudeau's on holiday, you're on holiday too. You're still getting paid. What are you doing right now? And they say, well, there's nothing I can do. I mean, we're still working, but there's nothing we can do in Parliament because it's closed down and it's shut and it's been prorogued and all these, poor Justin Trudeau. I said, stop blaming Trudeau. What are you doing? I haven't seen a single Conservative saying, where's the election? Our constituents want an election. Maybe Conservatives should organize a rally for Canadians to demand an election. This is why I've said they'll probably gain a lot more support if they stop talking about Justin Trudeau and start saying, these are why we need to change our laws. This is why we have to change the way our country is handled. Aren't you guys sick of this? Aren't you guys sick of being told that some guy with a Q-tip wrapped around his head and Justin Trudeau can hold your Parliament hostage? That they can tell you you're not allowed to vote, you're not allowed to go to the polls, that they find every slimy in and out to prorogue Parliament to move us further away from an election to stay in power? Aren't you fed up with that? If the Conservatives get in, we're not going to allow that to happen anymore. We're going to fix the laws and change them. We're going to change the laws so that the Senate isn't a problem, so that people have more control. We're going to introduce recall legislation. We're going to give people the power that they deserve. Wouldn't it be nice to hear Conservatives talk like that? If they really wanted our votes, if they really cared about where this country goes and not just about filling their seats for the next 4 years. I don't want slogans anymore. I want results. I want changes to the law. I want referendums to be allowed. I want people to be allowed to demand an election of their government if they're not satisfied with them. Alberta has recall legislation. They've introduced it. And while I say that Alberta's recall legislation is completely whacked based on the amount of signatures that are needed and whatnot, it's still something. And I asked Garnet Jennis about this when he came on the channel. Would we ever see recall legislation for the federal government? He says, well, you'd have people getting recalled all the time. Then that should tell you something about our political system and the representatives that we have. Do better. You're not the mob. You're not untouchable. You work for me. I pay taxes every bloody year. My tax dollars pay your salary. You work for me, Buster. Change the laws and give me back the power I deserve. I don't want slogans. I want change. Save by grace. Becoming a member for the first month. Canadian Conservatives are almost the same as Democrats in the US. They play it safe. They've got people behind them that work behind the scenes that tell them this is what's trending. This is what people support. This is what people don't support. This is what we're not going to talk about. We're not going to acknowledge these people. They think that they've got it all locked down as to what they need just to get in and just to get their jobs. Again, we're ice skating uphill. We're trying to keep doing the same things to get different results. It's not working. If the government really wants to make a change, and I wish they were in this state of mind, that they'd start saying, look at the madness that's going on right now. We're fighting with a US president about tariffs. There's people pouring into our country. There's crime riddling everywhere. We don't have any homes built for people. People can't afford food. People can't afford to get their heat turned on or their lights turned on. People are living in tents. Illegal substances have poured out all over the country. Enough is enough. It's not just about politics anymore. It's people's ways of life. You've completely trampled on freedom. And the Canadian people have no answer to their problems except to be told to wait and hope that their corrupt government doesn't find another loophole to make them wait a little bit longer. Double bottom, $5 super chat. Pick a date to march on Ottawa. Pick a date. Let's go. I wish that was the case. I wish it was that simple. I mean, I'll say it for the 50th time because I know people think that I'm crapping on Pierre. I got no problem with Pierre. I like him. But if he really wanted to make change, where are these discussions? He talks about all the things he's going to do, but they're very basic. I'll get rid of this tax. Okay, thank you. That's good. Thank you. I'll build some homes for people. Great. Are they going to be affordable? Are the wages going to match the living conditions that are around now? He claims, yes, they will, because I'm going to lower the income tax brackets. Oh, good. Good. I'll have a little bit more money. What happens when the next guy like Justin Trudeau or Mark Carney get in, though, and they form a coalition with another, pinhead, and they hold my country hostage, and I'm not allowed to have an election for 4 years? What happens then, Pierre? You going to do anything about that? I don't think they will. Because that makes rules for them to have to follow now, too. Right? Why restrict themselves? Excuse me. When it comes to politicians, yes, have your hope. Get excited. Look forward to the policies they're bringing to the table. Don't idolize your politicians. Don't prop them up on pedestals. They work for you. That's their job. That's a politician's job, is to work for you, not to be worshipped by you. Hold them accountable. If they don't want to put in rules that are going to restrict them, that should tell you something about how they plan to run their government. You know, it's kind of like the old saying that you know, if I had a girlfriend or my wife was looking on her phone and I said, "Hey, can I look at your phone for a second?" And she said, "No, you can't look at my phone." Why not? Is there something on there I shouldn't see? No, there's nothing on there you shouldn't see. There's nothing at all. Okay, so why won't you let me look at it? Well, because it's my personal stuff. Does it not sound a little guilty to somebody? Instead of saying, "Yeah, I got nothing to hide, go ahead." Right? So by the government saying, "Look, we got nothing to hide," good, then put some rules down that benefit people. Oh, yeah, we don't want to do that. Why not? Because, well, that'll affect us, right? We'll have to follow those rules too. So what? Right? Like that's where we're at. We're doing the same thing over and over. It's just a change of party. We're changing from the Liberals to the Conservative, and we're hoping for better results. We'll get some better results. But there is going to come a time where Pierre does something that we don't agree with. We all know that. We're not stupid. You're not going to agree with somebody 100% of the time. So what I'm asking for, what I'm saying is that why can't politicians start to think about how do we change the future so that people have more ability to have control, more ability to share their voice, to exercise their democratic rights, to ensure that coalition governments cannot be formed, that people can't be held hostage by their government while Parliament is prorogued. If Parliament was prorogued and there was new legislation that said when Parliament is prorogued, parliamentarians will not receive their paychecks, do you think they would have prorogued Parliament? Do you think Trudeau would have shut it down? I don't think so. If they had to take 6 months off of work with no pay, they would be right there screaming for an election. I'm not sure if they're still able to vote in on their raises this year because of the proroguing of Parliament. It'll be interesting to see when they come back. But I want you to take a look at every party when that day comes this year. And look at everyone there and see if they've approved or voted in favor of their raise. Because while you guys are paying your taxes, while you're giving roughly 40% or more of your pay to your income tax, your taxes and fees every payday, while you're broke, while you're trying to figure out how you're going to fill your gas tank or how you're going to keep the lights on at your house or get clothes for your kids or pay for their education, you think about those politicians that already don't have to worry about those costs and start to ask yourself, did they all approve their raises? Did they all take them, or was it just the Liberals and the NDP? The point of saying that isn't to be negative on the Conservatives. The point of saying that is to try and drop this fake idol worship we have of our politicians that say, oh, they're the greatest. They're going to do so many great things. They're so amazing. Oh, let's rally behind them. Of course, we all want change. We all want Trudeau to go. We want better days. We want Pierre. I'm not going to lie about all those things, but the fake worship, treating them like gods, that they can do no wrong. Over the last week, I have made multiple videos praising Danielle Smith for everything that she's doing. But if you go back on this channel, there are times I've made videos calling out Danielle Smith. Because that's my job. I hit the microphone there. That's my job as a Canadian citizen, as a content creator, as a taxpayer. I'm not going to worship Danielle Smith. I'll call her out when need be. HUD 279 Super Chat. Please contact Pleb for lawful election meetups. I've talked to the Pleb. We're steering clear of those things. I don't know if you guys know this. I'll kind of start to break things down now because that's my rant over. You know what really grinds my gears? God, I can't even really do my voices tonight with this cold. I received several threatening emails this week because I dared to question the Canadian political gods. People telling me to go off myself, people telling me that I should get diseases that pull me away from the planet, that if they ever see me in public, I should be scared. Number of emails this week at an alarming rate, over 24. It was so funny to see. Now, first off, I'm going to say right now, I had a lot of laughs while going through those emails. They don't harm me. They don't upset me. I think that the majority of them, to be completely honest, were written from one person because it was a lot of emails with numbers attached to them. So somebody clearly has too much time on their hands. But it's funny that this is where we're at in our political spectrum, that if you dare question somebody or if you say something that triggers somebody, while we claim to be the tolerant right side of the spectrum, that we suddenly turn on our fellow Canadians and start saying, well, you don't like what I like, so that makes you the enemy. You're a piece of crap. We got to stop that. We got to stop that. Zach saying it was me. I sure hope not. I sure hope not. Because if that's an omission of guilt, we'll shut that down. But nonetheless, if we're going to get better as a country, if we're going to do better as a people, we have to get back to the days where we can agree to disagree with each other. We can have differing opinions. We can say, I think you're wrong about this, and still be friends afterwards. I think social media has kind of destroyed the image that people have in terms of respect for each other, where people, again, I've talked about it before, that when I was growing up as a kid in the 80s and 90s, my parents always told me it was disrespectful to talk politics in front of other people. It's just something you don't do. But anytime that adults did talk politics, they were very careful about it, and they were very reserved. And they would agree to disagree on certain things and then get on with their lives. The problem with social media these days, when you look at the Rachel Gilmores and the unacceptable fringes of the world, is that there's now people that exist out there that say, if you don't believe what I believe, you're wrong. And I'm going to call you every name in the book. I'm going to post your picture up on the internet. I'm going to tell everybody to look at you and say, God, just shame this person for talking like this, for having these opinions. That's not going to make things better for us. I think if we're ever going to build as a country, even the people we don't like, we have to find a way to get along with them and split our politics and find a way to have a dialect while still being respectful to one another. I see Tanya, mentioning religion and politics. That's my father always told me. There's 3 arguments in life you're never going to win: religion, politics, and everything else. And I believe that. I believe it. I strongly believe it. But we're not going to get any better until we can find a way to listen to each other and realize that the left and the right aren't each other's enemies. It's the government that's our enemy. It's the people writing policy. It's the people that are stealing our money. It's the people that are the new mafia, the new mob. They're taking our money. They're using us as a battery farm. We need to focus our attention on the government and off of each other. If people want to virtue signal and say, well, you got to open up borders, you got to do all these really ridiculous things. I mean, sometimes you can't fix stupid, but at the same time, we have to start showing people that this isn't good for us. If you care about your livelihood, if you care about your house, if you care about being able to pay your bills, if you care about having an education, if you want your money to be valuable, we can't do these things anymore. There's a time and a place for stupidity, and it's college. If that makes sense. It's going to be interesting to see where things go. On that note, folks, I want to tell everybody right now that as the content continues, I'm trying to keep it as positive as I can. I really don't want to talk about the negative all the time. I don't want to ruin people's days or put them in a bad spot. I've seen a number of comments this week, and while I don't let the comments get to me, I typically stay out of the comment sections of videos. People have been saying, look, you're not positive anymore. I'm not going to watch the channel if you're not going to be positive. If somebody can point me to positive things that are happening in the country right now, please, by all means, I'm happy to talk about them. But it's important as we're going into an election to discuss the trials and tribulations that we're experiencing as a country, because if we don't deal with them, if we don't discuss them in an open forum, and if we don't get the news out to people, well, then we're walking blind into an election and putting ourselves at risk for another 10 years of abuse. At least that's the way I see it. With that note, folks, let's start to wrap up the stream. We'll do a quick Q&A, and then I'm going to go drug up with some NyQuil and go to bed because I am dying here today. I want to thank everybody beforehand who's supported the channel tonight. HUD, Ingrid Stewart, Prep Rebel Actual with a massive super chat. Trudeau's Akami, Reg Porter, The Blob Inc., Saved by Grace, Double Bottom. All of you who have super chatted, become members tonight. I really appreciate everything you guys have done. So thank you for that. Because again, the censorship's been bad. I certainly don't ask for super chats, but that definitely makes it a lot easier this month. Somebody's mystical saying, drugs bad and cool. I might have a problem doing voices. I know typically I do my little voices and stuff. I do my walking sometimes, but today it's a little crazy hanging around talking like this because I'm sick. I don't know if you noticed. It's I can't even do walking. Shut up, walking. Throw your questions in. Let's get the Q&A. And then we'll wrap up the stream before we stream again on Friday. Hopefully Friday I'm back to normal. We'll see. A little shot of Jack Daniels and I'll be back on my feet in no time. Let's get to the Q&A. I gotta do Arnold before I go to bed. I can't do, Arnold is a little crazy, especially when my throat's a little closed. I can't do any of my voices today. You got to talk about the negative stuff to get past it. Grow a set for fuck's sake, says Rigger. Yeah, I agree. Ginger, I had to drop out of that race. I was confronted by numerous people within the city of Calgary that said I was vote splitting, that it wasn't a good idea to run. I know Kevin Farkas was, or is it Jeremy Farkas? I always get them mixed up because I knew a Kevin Farkas. I think it's Jeremy Farkas. Whichever. Farkas was going to run again this year. And I thought he deserved the vote more than myself. I didn't want to vote split. So I'm not in that race anymore. Trudeau's Akami, $5 super chat. We need a new emoji, a pair of flip-flops with Jughead's head. I'll get on that, Trudeau's Akami. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Can you explain the Lucifer effect? I don't know what you're talking about, Jonathan, but I wish I could. Andy, what about a countrywide strike? Well, that's essentially what we're talking about with the protests outside of all Liberal and NDP MP offices. That if we were to organize something of that caliber, if we were able to organize a protest at that size, sure would grab the attention to have politicians not be able to say that Canadians are fine waiting until October. No, they've surrounded all the offices with signs. They're demanding an election now. Could you let the people know how much time each video takes? It really depends. You'll notice with my videos, I stammer and stutter a lot sometimes. There aren't any cuts in my videos. Typically, I try to do my videos in a one-shot take because I find it's more genuine. I'll pull up my articles ahead of time unless I want to react to them, at which point I'll just read them or go through them with you on those videos for the first time. Typically, for a video to be shot, to be compiled together and then uploaded to YouTube takes anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour on average. Not to mention the research that goes in before time and everything else, but let's see. Tanya becoming a new member of the Patriots Club. Welcome to the Patriots Club. Thank you for that. I should run for Ontario Premier. Yeah, but then I'd have to live in Ontario. I don't want to do that. I like Alberta. I'm staying in Alberta. You can't get in touch with the pleb with your idea about meeting up at every MP constituency. I could. I'll mention it to him. Maybe we'll discuss it. But like, I'm friends with the pleb. We have a good rapport with each other. But I don't know if him and I have the caliber to organize such a protest. Is the problem? We would need people who know administrative stuff and people who know how to delegate and organize. And the pleb and I are just content creators. Maybe I'll run it past him and see if he knows who we could talk to. Sorry guys, I don't mean to cough on stream. Arthur, okay, $5 super chat. How's Dragon's Lair doing tonight, Derek? He's looking good from here. Dragon's Lair is doing great. Let me see here. I will have to move Dragon's Lair at one point soon because we did talk to a realtor today about getting the house back on the market. Possibilities of getting back onto the market, what the market looks like right now. I'm going to be moving a lot of the arcades out of this basement because I think it makes it a little overwhelming for people when they come down here if they're looking at buying the house. So at some point, Dragon's Lair will take a walk for a little bit. But don't worry, when we do build the new set, when we move, Dragon's Lair will be in the background. It's kind of a meme now. Sorry, I'm trying to find... Don't miss my super chat. I got your super chat. Hang on, I gotta get caught up in the stream. Why did they pick April Fool's Day to do an increase on the carbon tax? Cruel joke, I guess. I don't know. It could be maybe because isn't it like March 31st is the end of the tax year? Because then you have until the end of April to file your taxes, right? Isn't that it? Am I off on that? Maybe I'm off on that. $2 super chat from Tanya. I wish we had a better option in Ontario. I wish you guys did too. Carson asking, how are book sales going? They were good the first day and then they kind of dropped off. If you guys missed that, we're currently running a promotion on all of the books on Unacceptable Fringe. They're on sale. Well, they've been lowered in price, 25%. It's as low as I can get them. We wanted to put 3 of our books in the top 3 100 spots on Amazon one last time to try and stick it to Trudeau, embarrass him because he hates those books. We were going to donate the proceeds to charity. Whatever comes of that campaign over the next week and a half, I will still donate what we make to charity. I'm not going to, keep the money for myself. It's slowed a little, but if anybody wants to grab any of our books, head over, do that. If we can try and pump them up a bit, that's always a good thing. Somebody screamed at me after the stream last week and said that I have a vendetta against Justin Trudeau and should just back off. I'm guessing it was a bot. But yeah, I do have a bit of a vendetta for Justin Trudeau. He wasted my tax money and locked me in my house for 2.5 years. I keep seeing this New Blue Party of Ontario. Didn't BJ Dichter, wasn't he a member of the New Blue Party at one point? Paul Champ? I thought Paul Champ was connected to the New Blue Party. The guy suing the Freedom Convoy. Have you thought about making videos about how someone new to YouTube can start their own channel, step-by-step tutorials? You know what, Jay? I was thinking about, somebody told me to run a workshop at some point for people that are serious, that similar to like a class, they pay and get so many lessons where we go through everything on creating and how to create and things like that. Maybe we'll start that at some point. For me to do those kind of videos, I mean, there's tons of tutorial videos out there for those who want to get in basic. I'd rather offer something a little more robust that guarantees results. So at some point, maybe we'll start up a class where I'll take on 10 people at a time that are interested and get them into YouTubing. If I was viewing your house and saw those classic arcade games, that would be a huge selling point for me, Arthur says. I get it, but arcades aren't for everybody. And the problem is space in this area. I just don't want it to be too discombobulated for people. When is the vote for the Libs? I believe it's March 9th, says Len. And I think everybody's voting for Ruby as far as I know. I'm waiting for you to put all your books in one book on a hardcover. Yeah, we're going to do an omnibus at some point in hardcover because Amazon will not print books the size of our books in hardcover. So we're going to put them all in one and make it like an all-in-one collection. I was just waiting until we had our books out, all of them out before doing that, because I don't want to make an omnibus and then we bring out another book and then people go, oh, it's not part of this collection. Tanya with $2 super chat. I love your books. I have all of them. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you for picking those up. I hope you enjoy them. One cool thing that happened today, I do have to share this because I'm a nerd. If you guys didn't know, before this room got packed up a little bit to where it is now, I'm still a huge Masters of the Universe fan. I used to have figures all over this room on pegs in box, the re-release Masters of the Universe collection that came out, all the vehicles, Snake Mountain, Castle Grayskull, you name it. My son got into Masters of the Universe with me, and we always had a deal that I was going to collect them with him. We buy 2 of everything. He opens and plays with his toys. I keep mine, put them away. He thinks I'm going to sell them at one point. I think what I'm going to do is keep them away for when he's older. He can share them with his kids. But one cool thing that came today that I want to share with everybody. If you know anything about Masters of the Universe, now I got this for my son too, because we get 2 of everything. This totally awesome replica He-Man sword. Now, if you hold it up and say by the power of Grayskull, which my son did, nothing happens. So it is not 100% authentic, but it's pretty darn cool. But it wasn't just the one sword replica that came. If you guys remember the 80s toy line, when Masters of the Universe first came out, He-Man had a sword and Skeletor had a sword, and you had to combine those swords in order to make a master sword to get into Castle Grayskull. Well, they released the Skeletor sword as well, so I grabbed that as well for my collection. These will be going up in the studio. They're quite large, heavy too. They'll be going up in the studio when we move. I can't wait to have them on display. I thought it was so cool. And they were sitting right here because my son had them out earlier. I had to share them on the stream. That's my inner nerd coming out a little bit on the stream. I apologize. But yeah, Masters of the Universe. That was my biggest craze as a kid before Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But let's see here. Sylvana saying, are you moving to a bigger place? That's the plan. That's the plan. We're supposed to move to Spruce Grove, Alberta. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully it happens soon. We're kind of watching the market. Calgary's market's been a little up and down lately. Things have been a little screwballed. I got a few things to settle at the house here, and then we're gonna get back on the market. But hopefully we'll be on the market soon. We'll alert everybody when we're getting ready to move. Smaller town life. We're getting out of a big city to a smaller town. I know it's a bedroom community of Edmonton, but it's still a 20-minute drive outside of their city. And it's small town living. That's what the wife wants. It's is the house you liked in Spruce Grove still a go? Says OAO. It actually just came back onto the market this week. So if that house is available when we get on the market, then of course we'll do everything in our power to try and get that house again. It's you need more rooms for your hobbies. No, I'm going to downsize a little bit once we move, but I am building a new studio for myself and Mrs. Fringe so that we can have multiple camera setups, multiple lighting. It'll look very professional. And it's going to be a little nerdy. I'm not going to lie. I've got a lot of nerd relics hanging around my basement, whether it's a Back to the Future hoverboard, my lightsabers, my proton packs, my He-Man swords. I got a lot of stuff kicking around here that's going to be on display around that room. My Tony Stark, if he had a heart arc reactor, my Infinity Gauntlet. God, I've got a lot of stuff to put on display around that room. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a cool set. I've already got the vision in my mind. I've explained it to Mrs. Fringe. She's on board. She thinks it's going to look fantastic. So that's going to be where I put a lot of my collection when we move is in the studio. Will she get her own chair and mic? Yes. In fact, I was looking at chairs on the weekend and I found chairs that we were going to get matching chairs, but Mrs. Fringe said, no, let's wait until we move. I want new chairs when we move. It's coming. Yes, she's going to have her own mic. She's going to have her own camera. She's going to have her own desk. She's going to have everything that I have here. in a TV studio-like setting, it's going to be perfect. Because one of the bonuses to a brand new house is you have an undeveloped basement, which gives us a massive canvas to build a set on. It's going to be great. What about Transformers? Said Arthur. Okay. One of my loyal viewers, Luca, is sending me a Devastator, a Transformers Devastator, because he knows how much I like Transformers. So yes, Devastator will be on the set as well. It's going to be great. Arthur says, I still have my first generation Transformers. I'm still trying to get my hands on a legit first generation Megatron. I really liked the handgun. Everybody had it as a kid, and then they got rid of it and made it illegal with the orange tip because, it looked like a real handgun and all these stupid things. Definitely my favorite Transformer of all time. I thought it was so cool as a kid. Yeah, I had G.I. Joes too. In fact, I've still got G.I. Joes boxed up in my collection. I've got the Cobra Hiss. I've got the Striker, the Jeep as well. I forget what their Jeep is called. They're all in box with the figures. I've got multiple figures in box still. Love my G.I. Joes. God, now we're getting into the nerd stuff. It's gonna wrap in. Look at this. I still did an hour and a half stream after I said we were only gonna go to an hour. I'm running myself out. Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, I'm gonna cut it off before it gets any crazier. I love talking nerd stuff with you guys. Maybe we should do some nerd streams a couple times a week or something, or once a week, where we sit down and just talk non-politics. I don't know if you guys would be interested in that. If you want to watch that kind of stream, put it in the comments when the stream wraps up so I can go back and check later. Maybe we'll set something like that up where we'll talk video games, we'll talk comics, nerd stuff. I think it'd be fun. I'd like to talk that stuff with you guys. On that note, ladies and gents, I hope you guys have a great evening. Thank you again to everybody who became a member tonight, everybody who super chatted, everybody who was a part of the stream. Join me Friday night for Friday Night Fringe. Mrs. Fringe will be here, of course, looking as good as always. And we'll be talking about everything else that has happened in politics this week and some fun stories on her end. She's already got some really good stories lined up for you guys to talk about this week. I'm looking forward to that stream. Keep your eyes open tomorrow. Tomorrow morning's video is going to have a weird title that says Nobody's Home, talking about an issue we've uncovered with the Kamloops missing children, missing Indigenous children. So make sure to check that out because that one's going to get censored into the ground. So make sure you get out tomorrow morning. Check out that video, ladies and gentlemen. On that note, excuse me, I'm coughing already. I hope you guys have a great night. I hope you look after each other. Keep your stick on the ice. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. I'll catch you on the next one.